met in high school in orchestra class, first day of my 10th grade year, his 9th grade year. We met with the instruments in our hand, and just kind of, 26 years later, I mean, you look down and you're like, how did that even happen?
I loved hip hop, it was almost like I did classical music, that's what I went to school to do, every second period orchestra class, but after orchestra class I'm listening to Tupac, Biggie, or whatever. I wasn't old enough to really understand classical at the time. When I first started, I started in 8th grade, so it wasn't really until maybe my junior year, my high school year, I started really developing an appreciation for classical music. And I developed this, I guess, equal love for both, you know what I'm saying? And when you think of hip hop, it's all about being creative and experimenting, and whether it's dance or whatever. So it was just natural for me to pick up this viola and just play whatever, that's what hip hop is all about. I really believe we're doing something that honestly is great for classical music and also hip hop. Someone that would never listen to classical would look at it, would listen to a Brahms now because of our concert, or vice versa.
The classical world, they appreciate it because we're taking something that is very classical and we approach it very classically. And we're taking something like that and bringing a new audience into this world. Maybe they don't appreciate the volume of which we do it, but they can definitely appreciate that we're using classical instruments and playing them traditionally classical. And we're bringing an entire brand new, younger, fresher, more colorful audience into a genre that is kind of fading because they haven't been developing audiences. From the hip hop side, it's more a little like, man, I didn't think that could happen, but it's still hard. I still like that. I could still bob my head to it. It's still, it still feels like this Jay-Z song or that Kanye West record. It relates to them. So they, I think, are appreciative of us trying to do something different with our art form and kind of, pushing the hip hop art form forward, so to speak. So I think that their appreciation is different but equal. I think, no one that we hear is just sort of like, why are you doing this to our music? Everyone is like, oh, that's cool, I never heard that, or that's an interesting fusion, or let me share that, let me show this to my kids, let me inspire someone with it. So it's great to be able to do both of them equally and have it being well received from all parties.
I love just being able to go to a different country and experience a different culture, and you play for them and they're just like, they're moved, and you're just like, man, I don't even understand you, you don't understand me, but we can communicate, we can connect.
Stereotypes is something that we kind of deal with on a daily basis. Like, imagine if we walked into your student union here, or your cafeteria here, and we look and dress just like we dress right now, and we pull out a violin and start playing. People will stop just because who is playing the violin, not even what you're hearing. You'd stop just on the, like, is that football player playing a violin? Like, they really would. I like the fact that it happens, honestly, but like, something we live with every day. It's just the fact that we don't look like typical classically trained violinist with a degree. We just, we don't look like it, we don't act like it, we don't move like it. I haven't worn a tuxedo with a violin in my hand in 15 years, but I make a living doing it. So, stereotypes is something that's real to us, and we wanted to just kind of like show some light at it, especially, right now when you deal with, everything that's happening at Ferguson or Baltimore or Trayvon or everything that's happening. It's important for the world to understand that you shouldn't judge this book by its cover, and you can do anything, with anything, even with a violin that you don't think is cool. And you should always aim to break the stereotypes in any way, whether you're older and they say you can't do this, or you're younger, you're in college and they're like, you're too young for this, or you're a female or a male and you're not supposed to be doing something. Nah. You just break that stereotype, use that as fuel, and just run with it. And like, that's what we've done, and we're able to jump on stage every day and completely crush people's perceptions of what was possible. in everything, whether it's what the violin could do, what music could sound like. I didn't even like that hibbity hop. We hear that every night. Like, you know, people that just they're not even into it. And after they said and done, after the show's said and done, they're handing us a CD to sign that they just bought of hibbity hop. We eat that up. Like, you know, me personally, I soak it up. I love it. That's a big part of why I do this now. Like, there's one thing to make somebody dance. It's another thing to change their mind about what they thought was possible when they finish seeing it. You know, I don't like to put any restrictions on success. I don't know. I mean, the next step is to be bigger and better than we are today. Tomorrow we need to be bigger and better. We need to, you know, be more focused on the music, more into our fans, more into what we're trying to do. You know, just take it day by day and put your all into it every single day, and your tomorrow will be brighter than your yesterday was.
Well, I want to be able to perform in a stadium next year filled with 100,000 people, and every single one of those individuals can be transformed and moved through, you know, what we do in our music.